An advisory report in the Borough of Manhattan, docket number 15-4845, Block 111, Lot 1, 1000 Fifth Avenue, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, an individual landmark, and also the Central Park Scenic Landmark. A Beaux-Arts and Roman style museum built in 1864 through 1965 and designed by Vaux and Mould, R.M. Hunt, McKim, Mead and White, and others, within an English Romantic style public park designed in 1856 by Olmsted and Vaux. Application is to amend Advisory Report 12-9584 for the redesign of the plaza to incorporate security barriers at vehicular entrances. And this was initially heard July 16th, 2013. No, that, okay, this is...
Good morning, Commissioners. Bernard's Preservation Department staff. This application is for signage at the plaza in front of the Metropolitan Museum of Art and individual landmark. The plaza is part of the Central Park Scenic Landmark. You recently reviewed a proposal for alterations to the plaza. Because the plaza is part of the Scenic Landmark, this is reviewed by the Public Design Commission. So we're only advisory for this proposal. There's four components that are being reviewed, but there's also some context shown here. These are signs that are being installed on the building, and these are signs that are being installed on railings to the stairs. These are on the building replacing existing signs and will be reviewed at staff level. There's also this freestanding stanchion that is not anchored to anything and is just shown for context, is also not being reviewed at this review. These are 3 signs that are being installed at the plaza. The Public Design Commission is binding on this matter. We are advisory. So these 3 signs are what are being reviewed, as well as a plaque at the base of a sculpture, which is shown later in the presentation. And the applicants are here to go through the proposal.
Okay, we'll open, thank you. Open the hearing, please. Motion in the second without objection. Thank you. Is this testimony? No. Okay.
Hello, I'm Scott Bismuth. I'm with Olin, we're a landscape architecture and design firm out of Philadelphia who have done the redesign of the plaza. I'm here with Tom Javits and Laura Scambeglio from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So, as Bernadette said, we are looking at plaza signage and from left to right or south to north. We're proposing a parking sign, a replacement of an existing parking sign, an in-kind replacement of a sculpture sign, Noguchi Sculpture, a new pylon sign at 81st Street and 83rd Street to replace existing pylon entry markers. And then just for context, we're re-showing the donor signage that's engraved on the fountain that's previously been approved by the Public Design Commission. And lastly, poster pylons, existing poster pylons that were removed from the previous plaza, been taken off-site, refurbished, and they'll be put back in similar locations along Fifth Avenue curb. So the 2 pylon signs at the 81st and 83rd Street entrance, 81st Street entrance here and 83rd Street entrance here. You can see the sign within the, relative to the architecture of the building and the opening. The opening for the 81st Street is 11 feet 11 inches approximately, so 12 feet. And the opening for the 83rd Street is slightly taller, 12 feet 6 inches. The signs that we're proposing are slightly lower than those openings. Here you can see the location of the sign adjacent to the opening and the facade. And you'll see that it's not attached to the building, it's actually freestanding, attached to a footing within the plaza. So these are the 2 signs. This is the 81st Street entrance sign, and this is the 83rd Street entrance sign. It's really designed to be the primary information at the top of the sign, secondary information, and then tertiary information that's down at the eye level of the visitor, which includes museum hours and some other items. This is an AXO showing the sign. The sign we're proposing would be made of bronze with engraved letters with painted white infill to create the contrast that we need for visibility. And then it's also designed so that you can remove a panel at a time to upgrade information if you needed to without having to replace the entire sign. This is the 81st Street entrance, this was the pre-existing condition before the Plaza project started. And this is the proposed new sign to be installed right to the left. And then this is existing legacy signage that would be, it's an in-kind replacement. But the focus of this presentation is really about this pylon sign here. And so, before and after, before,
Yeah.
and then after. And then this is the,
Pylon's the same material as the sign over the head, right?
yes, all bronze. The sign overhead is, it's an in-kind replacement. The current one has integral lighting, so the top one would have integral lighting as well. The pylon signs are not integrally lit. So this is the 83rd Street entrance. And so the in-kind replacement of the legacy sign and then the new pylon sign marking the auditorium entrance. This is not a public entrance. This is only used for special events. This gives you a perspective of the size of the sign relative to the facade if you were back from the Fifth Avenue curb. And then we looked at precedent signage, particularly of other museums and the way that they mark entrances and mark their building. The precedents include from the Getty Museum in LA, the British Museum in London, Communications Museum in Frankfurt, and then Academy of Sciences in San Francisco, and then more of a subway station stop in Paris. The parking sign is an in-kind replacement. This is the existing sign that we're proposing to replace with this. Again, all bronze. The only portion of this that it would be illuminated is the P, and that's a polycarbonate that's pushed through an extrusion, through a cutout in the bronze. That's a perspective showing its location relative to the South Drive that takes you back into the parking garage. This is a Noguchi Sculpture that is currently in this location at the southeast corner of the museum near 80th Street. And we're simply updating this little plaque sign with a new stainless steel sign. All this planting as part of the Plaza project is being removed, and there'll be much lower planting around it.
Where's the existing one that's being replaced?
The existing one is right at the base of the sculpture.
Where will this one be, the same spot?
It's literally keeping the same pole, but replacing the little bronze, the little plaque, stainless steel plaque, with a new plaque that was developed by the curators of the museum. These are the existing poster pylons that were on the previous plaza that we've removed. We've refurbished. The exterior of these poster pylons have not been changed or altered visually. And they're being put back in similar locations along the Fifth Avenue curb, and you can see them within the context of the new design. And then this was the approved donor signage at the two fountains on the south side of the south fountain and on the north side of the north fountain. The David H. Coach Plaza. The reason we show it is we're using the same typeface. So all the plaza signage, all the typeface will be consistent. And that's the extent of that.
Questions? Yes. Thank you. Yes.
So, the sign going to the garage, that existing one that you're showing, is that staying?
No, that would be removed.
And the last other question is why is the sign for the auditorium taller than the other?
Because the grade across from 84th Street down to 80th Street, there's about, there's a significant grade change.
So is it the same height as the door?
It's the same height of the door, but the door opening is taller at the 83rd Street entrance than the 81st.
Oh, and there's a hedge. What's the thing with the hedge? Why are you?
So it's an aerial hedge, so it's American linden trees that will be flipped into a hedge. It was part of what we presented as part of the Plaza project.
Okay. Hearing.
I have
Question?
one
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
So is there any place on one of your diagrams where you can call out every single place where there's signage, whether it's your existing poster boxes or your donor signs and the ones you want to add, and I'm having a hard time getting a sense. It's
Okay,
feeling
so-
like there's too much is obviously my concern,
I can show you with this sign, with this slide.
right? Which is
So if we go
page,
from this
26?
second page,
Oh.
How many blocks is it that you're talking about?
this is from 84th Street, this is 83rd, 82nd, 81st.
oh, this is
80th.
great, thank you, I didn't see this.
4 blocks, okay.
4 blocks. We actually tried to show a lot of restraint in terms of the
Really?
signage and not as much on. We're really not adding any additional signs from what's already on the plaza, with the exception of the donor signs that's on the new fountains.
Okay. Okay, we'll close, there's no testimony. This is an advisory report, and therefore we're ready to discuss it as soon as I close this hearing. Please, the motion in a second. Okay, Joan?
Yeah, I can support this. I think that when you really scale it down and start looking at the tremendous, it's 4 blocks of a little bit of signage, I think it's really quite appropriate, and it's very elegant. It's done in a very elegant way, and I love the new parking sign. I'm always going through that green sign and getting stuck in the corner or whatever, whenever I go in there. And I think it makes such a difference because you can see it. It brings you right in, and the other ones are lovely too. But I mean, look at that old parking sign and what
Yeah.
you're replacing it with. It's
Exactly.
just so elegant,
Great
so I
improvement.
can support it.
Michael?
I'm okay with everything except for the new bronze plaza signs. I think they're too tall, and they should go back to the height of the previous ones.
Okay, Libby?
I would concur with that.
I'm okay with it as is.
I think it's very careful, I can approve.
Okay, all right, yep. Okay, I think then I'll do the advisory report for 1000 Fifth Avenue, otherwise known as the Met. Recommend approval for this report purposes, and these ideas will be contained in that report, that the signs and plaque will replace existing modern signage, and their installation will not alter or eliminate any historic fabric or obscure any significant views of architectural or landscape features of the building or the site. That the placement of the signs near entrances and their limited size will, not exceeding the height of the rusticated base of the building, will help the signs remain well-related and subordinate to the design of the building and the plaza. That the vertical orientation and slender profile of the signs will be consistent with the basic size and proportions of secondary entrances and windows at the base of the museum, further helping these installations remain a secondary harmonious presence. That the bronze material of the signs, matching a material present at the building and within the plaza redesign, will help the pedestrian entrance signs remain harmonious with the building, with the plaza and the building, and help the parking entrance sign to blend in with the surrounding landscaping when seen at a distance. That the simple design and modest amount of the size of the incised and white painted text and illustrations at the sign and limited use of acrylic and illumination at the P of the parking sign will be well integrated into the redesign of the plaza. That the new sculpture plaque will be small in scale, simple in design, and both typical and discreet in placement. And finally, that the cumulative effect of the proposed signs and plaque within the context of the remaining and previously reviewed placement replacement signs, at the museum, plaza, and surrounding parkland will not overwhelm the building, plaza, or surrounding parkland.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? One opposed? Okay. Then that's the report. Thank you. Thank you all.